A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A+ English because it's so much fun. English education for you and everyone, so come along. Learn some grammar, learn a phrase, learn something new every day. Learn the A+ way. Hey, it's time to start the show. Are you ready? Good, 'cause here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A+ English.
Hello everyone, welcome to A+ English. I'm Mike.
I'm Chickling.
And today we are going to look at a 2-day interview article with a very interesting person who has a very interesting job. The title, of course, is Life as a Hairstylist. So yes, that's what we're talking about. A hairstylist, or if you pay less than 500 NT, you might call it a barber.
Yeah.
But if it's a lot of money, it's a hairstylist. So here's our warm-up question. How often do you go to a hair salon? Or if it's less than $500, a barber shop? But I guess you don't go to a barber shop. This is definitely hair salon hair. Not Joe's barber shop on the corner with like an old man, cut your hair in 10 minutes. No, this is definitely a work of art. So how often do you go? And here's my follow-up question. How long do you stay each time?
Okay, it really depends.
Tell the truth. I will tell the truth too.
Okay, so basically,
Yes.
I go there about once a month or once every 2 months.
Okay, that's normal. That's normal.
Yeah, but when I have like a big event coming up,
like when you want to look pretty for a show or a big thing, a party. Right. Okay.
And like each time, sometimes if I re-dye and I have to bleach my hair, so like the longest, I'll stay there for like 8 hours.
8 hours! You could fly to Australia in almost that much time. So there you go. I just learned this a few years ago. When women go and get all the color and all that, it can take like 6. You spend like a whole day there.
Yeah.
This is something I didn't really know. I go to the hair salon or the barber shop. I guess it's a hair salon, about once a month, and I stay for 45 minutes to an hour. I get washed, I get cut, and then they push me out the door. And that's okay with me, but of course, I never look as beautiful or have hair as nice as yours. So how about you guys? How often do you go to a hair salon? How long do you stay there? And maybe you can even tell people, how much do you spend each time? That could be interesting too. Let's check out the article. Life as a hairstylist. Warm-up question. How often do you go to a hair salon?
What do you do at work every day?
I usually start by cleaning up the store. After the store opens, I cut people's hair, style it, and color it. Fixing any hair issues is my job too. What's more, I make videos and run social media to draw in more customers. All right, so yes, we've been looking at interesting jobs for a few months, and I really like these articles. It gives us a chance to kind of talk to someone who does a job that maybe is kind of normal to us, but maybe we don't know much about it, right? We've had people selling things in night markets. We had a police officer, and here's a hairstylist. This is also maybe a career or a job you guys might be interested in. So here's some good information. We begin with a question, as every good interview should. What do you do at work every day? Is the question for Jacob, our hairstylist here. He's an expert in making hair look beautiful and, doing all of the things you want to make your hair look great. So what does Jacob say? He says, I usually start by cleaning up the store. I imagine sweeping up hair is a big part of your job. After the store opens, I cut people's hair, fixing it style it, I should say, and color it. So after the store opens, I cut people's hair, style it, and color it. Fixing any hair issues is my job too. Interesting. So kind of like a hair repair person. A repair person.
修理你的头发。
Yes, exactly. Fixing any hair issues. People get dry hair, right? They get oily hair. Their hair just doesn't look right. It's growing in a weird way. You know, those kinds of problems. What's more, this is another way of saying and, or also, or in addition, I make videos and run social media to draw in more customers. So like lots of people, he's on social media showing off his new styles, getting people interested and maybe even having them visit his hair salon. So that's great, but busy. Sounds very busy.
Yes.
Here's a question. How often do you get a haircut? We know that.
Yeah, we already talked about it once a month.
I'm about once a three. I'd say 3 to 5 weeks for me.
Oh, yeah.
So
I think
a month
men,
is.
you like get more.
I guess so. I think my hair grows a little faster too than
That's
some people.
That's a good thing.
I don't know. Anyways, here's another question. Why might social media be important for a hair salon?
So they can put up their works. Like the hairstyles they've created.
Exactly. A lot of hair salons can be found all over a big city, and I think it's hard for a lot of them to advertise, right? Because most advertising costs a lot of money, but most hair salons are little private businesses, so they can't put ads on TV or on the MRT. So social media is a great way for them to get the word out, get people's attention, get people to check out their company.
How did you train to become a hairstylist?
It began with practice on mannequins before I moved on to real people. I asked my friends and family to let me practice on them. We must pass a test for each new skill. Learning all the skills prepares us to become real hairstylists. All right, now, of course, Jacob, our hairstylist, didn't become a master of hair arts just by waking up one morning or by being born with a gift. No, like most hairstylists, he probably had to train and learn his skill before he could touch a real head. So here's our question about that. How did you train to become a hairstylist? You could also say, how did you learn to become a hairstylist? Where did you, maybe it's a family business, which I think is probably common. I'm not sure you could learn it off YouTube.
Not really.
Or something like that. I wouldn't trust so. Oh, I watched a lot of YouTube videos. Let me cut your hair. No, I don't think I'll feel comfortable about that. So how do you become a hairstylist? A good question. Jacob says, it began with practice on mannequins before I moved on to real people. Very interesting. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. They practiced on mannequins. You know those things that you see in a store?
Like fake.
They look like people?
Yeah.
And they just stand there?
I used to be so scared of them when I was like...
The big ones? The real ones?
Yeah.
Or the hair ones?
The hair ones.
The hair ones.
Crazy.
They are kind of odd. It's usually just like the shoulders, neck, and head of a person. And somehow they have a way of like making the hair come back again.
Yeah.
So you cut it and then you put new hair in. So basically you're practicing on a model of some kind. Not, of course, a real human person model, but like a plastic model of a person's head, which I guess makes sense. But here's a question about that. What might be different about styling a mannequin's hair and a real person's hair?
I'm guessing that maybe a real person's hair could be softer.
Could be softer, just different.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, everyone's hair grows in a different direction, in a different way. It has different thickness and, all that kind of stuff. I guess the other thing is the mannequin won't move.
Oh,
right?
true,
People move, they look down, they look up, they turn, you might be afraid of cutting the person's ear.
Oh, no.
That kind of thing.
Especially if you're cutting a kid's hair.
Yeah, for sure. That won't happen with a mannequin. And of course, mannequins never complain or cry when you ruin their hair. Right? Customers like, what have you done to my hair? I'm getting married tomorrow. I'm so ugly. And you got to make them feel better and do all that stuff. mannequins will never have an emotional meltdown in your chair as you ruin their haircut. All right, so I guess people are a lot harder to deal with, but mannequins are a good way to practice. Back to the article, Jacob also says, I asked my friends and family to let me practice on them. Very useful. We must pass a test for each new skill. Oh, that's interesting to know. So there's sort of levels of learning, and before you move on to level 2, you have to pass level 1. So if you can't stop cutting off people's ears, they will never let you move on to higher levels of learning, which makes me feel more comfortable. That makes me feel safer. Learning all the skills prepares us to become real hairstylists. Yeah, I mean, there's a place, I don't know if they have them still, Barber College. That's what they used to call it. You know,
really?
He went to barber college after getting out of the army.
Cool.
It's like a school for barbers or stylists. And of course, I'm sure now they're much fancier. They're probably easier to find and a bit more expensive. But they also teach you greater skills. Here's the question. Now we know about it. Would you want to become a hairstylist?
It takes so much patience and skills. I'm not really sure if I'm capable, but I think it would be interesting.
It would be an interesting job. Yeah, I think you'd need as much people skills as you would sort of scissor skills, right? You have to be good with people, make sure the customers are always happy. I always thought the thing that I wouldn't like is coming home with hair everywhere. You know, I think after a while you'd find hair in your shoes, and in your ears, and so I'm not sure. But I guess you would get used to it. So how about you guys? Would you want to do that? We'll be back with more in just a second.
OK， 我们今天第一个单字是 run， 这个字原本是跑步，但在我们文章中是经营的意思。它的三态是 run, ran, run， 所以去经营一个餐厅，管理一个餐厅，你就可以说 to run a restaurant。比如说 He has been running a restaurant since he graduated， 或者是有一个片语我们叫 to run a tight ship。指的就是有效的去严格控管一个公司啦，或者是一些人都可以一个机构。所以比如说 Andy is very organized and confident. He runs a tight ship and he does a great job. 那我们看另外一个句子 Mr. Lin runs our school's basketball club. His job is to plan the games. 林先生呢是管理我们学校的篮球社，那他是负责规划比赛。那刚刚我们看到 draw 这个字，以前是学画画，但是这边是吸引的意思，它的三态是 draw, drew, drawn， 所以我们说去吸引谁的注意 You can say to draw one's attention or to draw someone's eyes。 比如说 My eyes were drawn to the boy in the corner. He looked like my cousin. Let's take a look at another sentence. The city draws more than 5 million visitors each year. 这个城市呢，每年都吸引超过500万名的游客到访。那因为这个hair stylist 是需要训练的，我们刚刚看到 train 这个字，它就是训练培训的意思，所以我们也可以训练狗狗 You can say to train a dog， 比如说 The dogs were trained to help blind people， 所以它的名词就是 training 有训练，所以像是培训课程就是 training course， 或者是说什么东西是 good training for something， 就是对什么是很好的锻炼，比如说 Her experience as a teacher was good training for parenthood，就是他当老师对他以后当爸爸妈妈其实是很好的锻炼。那我们看另外一个句子 The boss trained the new workers for weeks before they started doing any work。 老板在新员工开始工作之前呢，就花了好几个礼拜去训练他们。那最后我们看到有一个字就是 real， 这边是真实的真正的意思，所以像我们说真皮其实就是 real leather， 那真枪就是 real gun。 那有时候我们有个片语叫做 for real， 它就是真的的意思。比如说我不觉得她是真的哭I don't think her tears were for real， 或者是说真正的绅士，你也可以说Mr. Mender is a real gentleman。 那我们看另外一个句子 Hansen finally saw real life lions when he visited Taipei Zoo last weekend。 Hansen 上个礼拜呢去台北市立动物园，就看到活生生的狮子。那最后的 magic box 大家看到的 practice 它可以当名词或动词，也可以有练习题的意思。那名词比较常见的片语我们可以说 practice makes perfect， 它就是熟能生巧。那当动词的时候后面如果加上动词要记得是 VING， 比如说 Her written German is good but she needs to practice speaking it。 好，所以这是今天所有的单字 Don't forget to practice using all these words and right now let's go to our review time activity。
review time.
Hello everyone, we are back and we have just a little bit of time to do a quick review. So let's look at our words first. Run, draw, train, and reel. All right, so these are some interesting words, several of verbs and an adjective. So because of that, we are going to play a quick game of opposites.
Opposites.
That's right, I said opposites.
Okay.
That's what we're doing
Different
today.
meanings.
Yes, different meanings, opposite meanings. So if the word is up, you would say
Down.
If the word was expensive, you would say
Cheap.
Yeah, exactly like that. So let's look at the words run, draw, train, and reel. We'll start simple. All right, we're going to start very easy. Fake.
Real.
Artificial.
Real.
Exactly. If this is a real painting, an artist actually did it. If it's a fake, maybe it's just a poster or something like that. Speaking of that, we're going to go to the word draw. But remember, this isn't draw like I'm drawing a picture. This is to attract, like a company wants to draw customers. What would be the opposite of that kind of draw? How about repel?
撤退吗
Yeah, do you know that word?
Like 这样子
I gave that one to you. That's an easy one. Because I can't really think of
I know, right?
to push away. Repel would be the best for draw. Here, though, we're going to go to another one. We are going to say do. To do something.
To do something?
To do something. To be paid to do something.
To be paid to do something? Train?
Yeah, well, if you're doing something, you're actually doing the job if you're paid. If you're training, you're just learning the job. So it's the difference between learning the job
so you don't know how to do
as a student and doing it as a skilled person. All right, we'll finish with a very easy one. To close.
To close?
To close.
So you are
to shut down.
You're not running that anymore.
You're not running it, exactly. If the business is running, it is open, it is doing business. If it is closed, the doors are shut, the lights are off, nobody's home, or maybe it's even out of business. It's definitely not running.
Those are really hard words for opposites.
They are hard words, but I felt like a challenge.
You did so well.
Well, you did so well too, and your hair still looks good.
Thank you.
We'll be back tomorrow with Jacob and more words about being a hairdresser, so join us for that.
Magic Box.
我樱木花道虽然是个篮球天才，但不代表我不需要练习。I always start practicing before he comes。我总是在那个讨人厌的流川枫来之前就开始练习了。哈哈哈！大家看好了，再过不久呢，我就要超越他。到时候呢，我的梦中情人就不再暗恋他，一定会爱上我啦。中文里面呢，我们要表示时间的先后顺序，会说什么之前或什么之后。英文里面其实也是一样的哦。当我要表示之前，我们就可以说 before； 表示之后呢，就可以用 after。这两个单字呢，都是连接词，可以连接两个完整的字句，而连接起来后呢，就可以表示时间的先后顺序，两件事情谁先谁后啦。我们一起来看几个例句了。Every morning I go jogging before I go to school。每天早上去学校之前呢，我都会去慢跑锻炼我的体力。Before 呢，在这边呢就连接了 I go jogging 跟 I go to school 两个事件，然后呢表达了时间的先后。在去学校之前，我慢跑。OK， 这个呢就是用 before 跟 after 这两个单字形成句子的方法咯。除了呢两个事件之外呢，我们也可以加上时间。例如呢，我去学校的时间大概是早上7点哦，所以呢，我也可以说 I go jogging before 7 a.m. 7点之前呢，我去慢跑，或者是下课后怎么样呢 ？I join the practice after 5 p.m. 我下午5点之后呢，就会加入练习。After 就表示之后，那句型呢是长得一模一样的哦。句子里的位置呢，从属连接词不一定要在中间，我们也可以把整段连接词引导的部分移到句首咯。Before I go to school, I go jogging。去上学之前呢，我慢跑。注意到呢，我们把连接词引导的部分移到前面时，要记得加一个逗号，分隔两部分啦。Before today's lesson, You probably didn't know how to use before and after. 今天的课程以前哦，你可能不知道怎么用 before after， 但是嘞 ，you should know it after the lesson. 上课完之后你就该知道啦，还不赶快谢谢我英文天才樱木花道，哈哈哈哈哈哈。